So I'm KB with Nerdophiles. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
I am, oh my gosh, I'm doing well. Listen, your photography is absolutely beautiful. It's so stunning. And what I appreciate about your episode is just how engaged your family is as well. So, how has this business and the world of photography kind of enhanced your relationship with your wife, who's also your creative partner?
hmm it's interesting how, our relationship with regards to the work has evolved over the years. I'd say early on, she was always sort of like my harshest critic and most trusted sort of like confidant. Um, she has always handled the business aspect, which I'm not good at all, and actually don't have any interest in. And so she has, thrived in that arena. And I would say in the last maybe 10 years or so, I rely on her as sort of a bouncing board, and I feel like she has a very good intuition about imagery and how imagery works and if it works, and she's never afraid to sort of like be critical of the work, which I think is so valuable. It's so easy to sort of like, not want to hurt someone's feelings kind of thing about an image or whatever it is. And she's very, and I don't want to say ruthless because I think she's very constructive, but very honest. And I think that's been a real gift for me with regards to my own work.
Well, listen, she definitely has an eye because that photo that she took of you was also so stunning. The one, behind the backdrop and you're in the water. I mean, it was beautiful. So
Mhm.
yeah, like definitely shout out to her. But you mentioned often throughout this piece of work just how, your inner child, how energized photography just makes your inner child, and how I think your wife may even said that you're still doing the same things that you did when you were a little kid. So
Mhm.
how has being a photographer really helped you heal your inner child and those things that you really wanted out of life when you were young coming full circle now?
Yeah, I think what happens in life, and I was just talking about this actually, but what happens in life is that we experience this sort of like the magic of discovery as a child, and the magic of understanding what's possible and the possibilities of the world. And the more we expose ourselves to information, the more we become aware of different potential professions or paths that we can take. And I think as we grow older, we kind of like get away from that magic. We get away from that sort of sense of awe and wonder. And I've always really held on to the things, as well as, adult pursuits, obviously, and the responsibility of fatherhood and of family and professional life, etc. But I've always made a really staunch effort to stay connected with, I was just talking about them sitting here uh in between interviews. I'm like sitting here building a model while while I was waiting, and playing with my model train set earlier, and going to go for a bike ride later, which are all things that I did when I was a kid. And, in addition to those things, which give me a lot of joy and have always my whole life given me a lot of joy, dealing with all the ins and outs of like, navigating the world as an adult and in business and in a very competitive industry. And so I think the sort of inner child satisfaction is really it's really been acted beneficially to me. I've talked to a lot of adults and talked about, what were you into when you were a kid? And they say, oh, I used to do this or I used to do that. And it's like, they don't do it anymore. And understanding like, wow, I have a friend who's a multi-billionaire, and I asked him one time like what his favorite time in his life was. And he's like, oh, when I was in high school I was DJing. And I was like, do you do it anymore? Like, you could do anything you want right now. Like, why wouldn't you like pursue that again if it gave you so much joy? So anyway.
But I love that because I think that we all do as adults. We need to find our way back to our childhood. And I
Hmm.
appreciate so much how you really just lean into that more and more. And so, my last question, obviously everything leads up in this episode to your journey to the shipyard to
Hmm.
photograph those workers, which were so beautiful and exceptional. So, how did this particular shoot kind of forever change how you work as a creative and as a photographer?
I think more than it changing me, I think it was my life to that point was kind of a primer to that experience, you know. So calling on all the experience, I mean, over 40 years of photographing professionally, starting in the early 80s. Um, you know, calling on all those experiences and the knowledge and the understanding of what works photographically, seeing the potential of a scene in front of me and how that could be interpreted photographically. So it was a real, it was like a victory for me in a sense because I felt like there was not a second wasted, you know, like that experience was very well utilized. And that for me was very satisfying. You know, I don't ever remember walking around with any kind of confusion regarding the setting. Like I was seeing it well. I was interacting with the shipyard workers well. Like I was on my A game, and that felt really great because, you know, we were on the other side of the world and in a kind of foreign environment and going into it not really knowing what was going to unfold, but really seizing the opportunity was, and really I feel like I seized the opportunity well. And so for me, it was kind of a quiet victory.
Well, listen, I can't wait for everyone to see your episode. I mean, I do love how well you connect with everyone, with all of your subjects, but really with everyone that you work with and everyone around you. It really, I think, just kind of enhances your work so much, and it's beautiful. So, first, just such beautiful, beautiful work, and I love your mission and the work that you do. So, just for you as a human being, kind of what has been the most rewarding part about using your gifts and your talent and your activism combined in this way?
I mean, for me, look, at the end of the day, I remind myself how lucky and blessed I am that I'm the guy who took the picture, not the person in front of the camera. I have a home to go back to, a warm meal and a bed for me. So I made it my mission, to say thank you to these people. So I created a nonprofit in Amsterdam. I have this gift of, seeing things differently, capturing moment, being trusted by people, spending time with them. So I ask myself, what else can I do than being the messenger or the guy who brings simple kindness? So I established a Dutch nonprofit in Amsterdam, and through the foundation, we managed to bring an actual help to the people that I photograph in camps in Jordans, in Pakistan, in Greece, in the Netherlands, and that was possible only through photographs. I could not imagine the foundation being alive today without the pictures, without these moments in time. So the real recognition for me actually is the foundation.
And how often, are you still in communication with some of the people that you've photographed? Just, I know, you have the foundation, but just you kind of one-on-one chatting with them and kind of getting updates on how they are?
I always remain in touch, actually. There is a universal language. I don't need to speak a language to be able to communicate with people. So when I worked in the shelter in Romania, I stayed in touch with the Ukrainian mothers and their children. In Jordan, I'm still in touch of many of the families that I photographed in Pakistan, in Greece. For me, the story doesn't end when I leave, actually, it begins. And I like to remain in touch with people, we're humans. They're not refugees. They have names and ages. I
Right.
hate when they are called by numbers. You know, I like them to be remembered by their names, by their hopes, by their dreams. I'm in touch, for example, with Zahra. Zahra is a young Syrian girl. I met her in 15, and last I saw her in March last year, March 23. I visit her at least once every year to keep her story going. I'm in touch with Mikola in Romania now with his mom. I'm in touch with Miral. She's a young Afghan girl. She's in Greece now. She's no longer young, actually. She's now 14. So it's amazing how time flies, but I always remain in touch and I always like to keep their stories going. It's like a commitment. For me, I don't want to be an outsider. It's easy to be an outsider. I don't want to chase glory. It's not about awards. It's about how beautiful the picture. It's about the likes and the shares. It's about the mission. For me, I want to keep their stories going, and I hope one day this picture will flip their life. that takes them from that tent to a proper home, from studying in a small room in their tent into a proper school. And I deeply believe in the power of photography as a force for good.
Yeah. Have you actually had anyone kind of reach out to you based on the photo and say, I want to help, like I need to be on the ground. What can I do?
Yes, you won't believe it, the number of people who wants to make a difference, but they don't know how. And this is what technology made possible. Through an Instagram account, we managed to build the foundation. We just decided to share the stories of the people with the word. I had a mother in Texas mailing me a package of toys and clothes to Laiba. Laiba is her portraits behind me. She's a young Afghan girl who, when her picture was published, many people approached me how we can help this young angel. I said, help begins the moment you remember her name. And then they
Mhm.
sent me packages and stuff. The photographer became the bridge and the messenger because my picture connected two words, her words and their word. We, through pictures, managed to build a school in Pakistan for Afghan refugee girls. We managed to I had a lot of gifts coming for Zahra, pen friendship. Zahra's portrait connected her with a German girl, Mariella, the same age, and that's simply through pictures. So believe me, for a picture that doesn't help today will help tomorrow. We have to believe in that. We have to be patient, and we have to believe in the power of photography.
Man, I mean, gosh, my last question, because your work is just so powerful, and truthfully, I was actually crying during your episode because there are just so many like lovely moments. And it is quite hard, and we as human beings, I think, need your episode now more than ever because we need this type of camaraderie. But just for you as yourself, what do you do to find joy? Just kind of in the midst because the work can be quite heavy sometimes, I can imagine. So what do you do for yourself to find some additional joy in that?
Believe me, the joy comes to me when I know that one of the people who opened their doors for me has been
That's
helped. I
yes.
always remain in touch with people, and I believe if it doesn't come today, it will come tomorrow. But sometimes it's frustrating. For me, at the end of the day, if I feel my picture didn't make a difference, this is when it hits me hard. But I keep believing, and I'm lucky and blessed to have this, to make a living by my passion, and through my passion, manage to help other peoples around the world. If you don't help, actually, you at least spread awareness. You raise their voice. You remind the world, and you remind them that they belong and they matters and they exist. They're not just numbers on papers. They're humans and their voice are heard, and we have the tool to make that happen.
Yes, we absolutely do. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with Nerdophiles. I actually really cannot wait for everyone to see this. And I truly hope that, you and your work continues to impact. I mean, it touched me so, so much. And I just, I know that you'll continue to be a blessing to so many other individuals. And I look forward to kind of following, more of their stories and more of your work. And seeing how I myself can actually help as well. So, man, just thank you so much for your time, and I truly can't wait for everyone to see it.
So I'm humbled. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.